let's go out to the West Coast. Let's talk about USC. Are they the best chance for the Pac-12 to make the college football playoff? Conventional wisdom would say, well, Oregon's ranked number 6, right? So in theory, they're first in line, right? I don't know. Let's talk about it. USC's number 8 right now in the college football playoff. Their current resume is an 8-1 record, no ranked wins. You're saying, JD, where's this going? Okay, they got a 1-point loss to a ranked team on the road in Utah. I believe Utah was ranked number 20 at the time in the AP poll. They've since skyrocketed up in the college football playoff rankings. The strength of record for them right now, according to ESPN, is number 10. Strength of schedule is number 64. Take that as you want. The rest of the way, they got Colorado. They go to UCLA, which is like across the street more or less, and they play Notre Dame. UCLA and Notre Dame right now are both ranked. So it sounds weird as a Trojan fan, but you're saying, UCLA, let's go, baby. Let's keep winning. Keep winning until we play you. Same thing for Notre Dame. Let's go, Irish. Here we go now. Win one for the Gipper. Win a couple for the Gipper till we play you, that is. If they can get to those games with the same record, obviously, they got to handle business against Colorado, but top 10 potentially in a matchup against UCLA. Potentially, if you're going to go ahead and be generous with your ranking, you say maybe they get a top 15-ish. That's generous again, but you get a ranked matchup against Notre Dame. And then you set yourself up for a game in the Pac-12 title game where you would likely have another top 10 matchup against a Utah or against an Oregon. And if it's Utah, you avenge your loss. So the potential resume out there, if you're USC, is 3 ranked wins, 2 top 10 wins as a Pac-12 one-loss champ, and maybe you avenged your loss against Utah, or maybe you beat Oregon. Who's to say? But there's some meat on the bone for USC if things fall their way. I'm just saying. It's a curious case. So you say, okay, the question is, is USC the best chance for the Pac-12 to make the college football playoff? Let's look at the other horses in the race. If Oregon wins out, they would be a one-loss Pac-12 champ, right? But here's my concern for Oregon. If they get to Selection Sunday with 1 loss, well, guess who that 1 loss is to? Oregon fans, you're rolling your eyes at me, but just hang with me for a second. To the Georgia Bulldogs. It's by 46 points. Look across the way there on Selection Sunday. You got the Tennessee Vols just sort of minding their own business, looking left and right, saying, who'd you guys lose to? Georgia? Oh, us too. By how much? 14. Listen, I think it's probably a matter of opinion, but I'm just saying that number doesn't bode well if you're a Duck fan. Men lie, women lie, your 2-year-old at home lies. Those numbers don't lie. Now, what will the committee do with that? I don't know. But my feeling is 46 points versus a 14-point loss. I know we're talking about losses here. It was the first game of the year for Oregon. They've run the table since then, but I just have a hard time believing they would be able to get in over Tennessee then. All right? Look at Utah. Already 2 losses. Pretty quick conversation. Maybe some madness ensues, but I don't think a 2-loss Pac-12 champ gets in, and I don't think I'm in the minority there. And I think a lot of the other people that agree with me are probably also in the college football playoff committee. So that's a short conversation. Then you look at UCLA. Now, UCLA is an intriguing study here. They would, in theory, if they were to win out, probably have 4 top 15 wins, with their only loss being to Oregon. Maybe they even get to the Pac-12 title game and they avenge that loss against Oregon. Well, then as a UCLA fan, you're starting to feel pretty excited. Maybe you have a chance on Selection Sunday, but let's backtrack a little bit. The Pac-12 fate, in my opinion, then would come down to USC and UCLA. That game that we're going to play in the Rose Bowl will be a whole lot of fun. Just quite frankly, I think USC's better. I think USC will beat UCLA on that day. We're going to preview it. We're going to predict it and break it down on this channel. We reserve our right to change our opinion based on the games that are going to happen before then. But I'm just saying, I just think USC is a better program than UCLA in terms of what they have available to them, in terms of the firepower. I could be wrong. Don't feel like I am right now, but that's just kind of the fact of the matter. But let's just say, you have, I want to think of the right way to say this. If USC and UCLA, in some alternate universe, are stacked up next to Tennessee, and there is the conversation on Selection Sunday, who are we going to go with? All things being equal, who are we going with? I don't agree with it. I don't think this is the way that it should happen. But based on what we've seen from the committee, brands kind of play a factor. And no knock on UCLA. They have a storied history. They've been relevant on a national level many a time. But I think from a brand's perspective and recency bias, you might lean a little bit more towards USC if you're trying to pick between USC and UCLA, who you feel better about going head up with Tennessee. So the point of this whole segment isn't to say you're taking USC over Tennessee. The point of this segment is to say if you were to pick one of these horses from the Pac-12 and say, hey, one of us has to go out here and go head-to-head with Tennessee. You may still come up short. The committee may still lean Tennessee because their only losses to now the number one ranked team in the country. But if you were to pick your best shot, your best fighter to send out there from the Pac-12, I think it's USC. For reasons I mentioned and for reasons that I think will play itself out in the schedule. But that game against UCLA for USC will be a whole lot of fun. We'll watch that one very closely. But again, I think USC for the Pac-12 is their best chance to make the college of football. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.